All right, guys. So let's start our small talk. And I know the majority of you are from universities, so you're finishing your education or just in the middle of your course of education. So the information here will mostly be related to you guys, but nevertheless, it is always very, it is very basic information which everybody needs to follow on any position, on any role in any company, and especially in IT business at all times. So what I will be talking about may seem to be obvious sometimes. Sometimes that may be, well, why are you talking about this? Because it's like very common things. Everybody understands that. But nevertheless, the basic things are the ones which are most commonly ignorant. So let me introduce myself. I'm the senior manager of engineering in GlobalLogic. My total experience spans through 14 years. And throughout my career, I used to work in very small companies, IT companies, working with very small projects. And right now, after almost 14 years of my experience, I ran the quite big program, which is the top, the customer is the top level player, and I really know what I will be talking about. So, what is IT company? For majority of people, IT company is the fancy office, very pleasant environment, and definitely something you want to work in. And well, talking about offices, they almost look like this in majority of IT companies. For somebody, IT company is work at home. So it is really the case right now. It was the case in COVID times, but already we are starting to see the trend of pushing everybody to offices, and that makes sense because in offices people tend to work more efficiently, and a lot of people feel that their time is not wasted for things like having a bite or fast cleanup or something like that. So they are more focused, and especially that makes sense for people who are easy to be distracted. And IT companies, IT offices definitely do not look like this one. So the office from any other job. And the question here, why is it so? And I used to work in the office like that. So it wasn't IT company. It was, well, I don't even remember what it was, but all IT companies I used to work in, they featured very nice and fancy and good looking offices. Why is it so? Mostly because IT company is all about people. And it happens because people is the main investment by the company. So it is created by people and created for people. Because when you hire a worker in any other business, like on a factory or anything else, your main investment is something else, but not this person. In our business, and especially it makes sense in outsource and outstaff IT companies, the people is something you work with, something you, as a manager, you sell to your customers, and something you want to be as efficient as possible. And don't get me wrong, people is not the resource. People is what you work with and what you are. And everybody cares about your efficiency as the main source of company's income. So what we want to create in the IT company is this spirit, of having productive environment. Yeah, I saw somebody raise the hand. Any first question? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, Dmytro, I just can remember it that if somebody have a question, please put it in Q&A and we will answer after our lecture.
Thank you. Yeah, so the IT company is transparent. Maybe not in all questions, but in majority of questions, they are. We tend to set clear goals and clear expectations for our employees. And we expect the same from people. So we want people to communicate about their problems. Sometimes we want some tolerance because, well, not always the condition allowed to do definite things. And we definitely want cooperation. So if IT company wants, it gives something to people, they want people to reply back. They want people to cooperate on what is expected from them. So just to illustrate what I was talking about, for example, let's take a factory. A factory is something created by people, but the main asset, the main investment is the appliances. Is something you buy for money, like machines, which creates the product. And the product will be created on any conditions. Like, for example, you can fire 10% of staff in the company, on the factory, and this would unlikely affect the process of manufacturing. Well, it will, but people is not the main source of income in this case. In IT, people is the main source of income. So when we lose somebody, when somebody leaves the company, it will directly affect the income of the company, especially if the company is small. And it will take time to find the replacement of this person, and it will affect the revenue we get, the amount of money we get from the customer, because the customer will not be paying for this person. What it should mean to you is that you, as the employee of IT company, is valuable. So you bring value just by the fact that you work here. And by value, I mean not the, not the value of being a good person, but the value, I mean, literally the value of money. And you should understand that you are being valued, you bring value, and due to this, the company has direct responsibilities upon you, and the company expects people who work in this company to have the same responsibilities and to honor them. So what productive environment is in IT company? The person who feels safe, the person should feel being supported, like being supported by the surrounded people. That means that you should not feel being left alone with a task which you do not understand. And if it happens, this is not proper process. If it happens, this means that somebody did his or her job badly. A person feels that all that happens to them is fair. It means that it should be a common practice applied to everybody in the company. It's not the exception. So there is a rule that something which happened to me is at the same level applied to all others. A person has a direct manager and a partner, like HR partner, people partner, whoever else but the direct reporting manager. This role, people partner role, is intended specifically for raising the questions which you do not feel comfortable talking about with your direct manager. It might be the salary expectation, the comfort at your working place, anything related to this, everything related to safety, being supported, fairness, etc. So if there is no HR or people partner role, that means that there is something to improve in this company at some extent. A person has a clear requirements which allow to validate the quality of work. This is very important thing to have. If you feel that you do not receive clear requirements which are not explained to you in a proper manner, like you're a newbie or new guy in the company, or either you are a senior guy in the company, doesn't matter. The requirement should always be clear. If it's not clear, it means that somebody did their work badly. And if it happens, that should be escalated, or you should give feedback about this. So this is not the proper process. A person receives proper and detailed feedback aimed to improve the quality of his or her work. That is another important thing. If there's no feedback, you cannot learn how to become better, how to improve your skills. The feedback is the crucial thing in our work. And the one iteration of feedback, meaning that when only one iteration is given, and then if something doesn't get better, you are being punished for something. It is also not the proper workflow, because feedback implies several iterations with, well, smaller, maybe smaller pace of improvement, but definitely not one iteration. So I'm talking about this here right now because all of you, majority of you guys, will only start your career path in IT, and you should know that what is good and what is not good, what is right and what is wrong, when to raise a flag, when to escalate problem, how the proper work should be organized. So there is something you need about yourself when you want to, and if you want to develop your career. if you want to communicate with people properly, and the main thing, if you want to grow in your career, you should understand what you want to reach, because well, it's obvious. Like, I start my career, and in 5 years I want to become a experienced senior developer. So that's my goal. Or I want to run a big account as a manager with 200 employees working under my report. So you should pretty much understand when you want to become in the definite amount of years. What your partners should be. So by partners, I mean the people who surround you in the team. So what they should be. You want to work with professionals to learn from them, or you want to work with people who are not as skilled as you are, just to teach them something. Why other people should work with you? So you should understand your strengths, what your strengths are. How can you help the teammates or partners or your customers or anybody else in the company? Like, for example, you have definite hard skills. Like, you can be a .NET programmer, or a good QA, or a great designer, but it doesn't make you a good person to work with. What makes you a good person to work with is your soft skills. How you care about what you do, what responsibility you take, how you communicate, how you take the problems, how you communicate problems to somebody, how you communicate at all with people. And you should also understand your weaknesses, what you need to improve in yourself. And all this knowledge, it's not about something you will know right away. You will learn this in the process of your career path. What you need to do is to fixate those things. Like, you should, step by step, situation after situation, understand the strengths and weaknesses to improve, and how you can use them in your further work path. What your organization needs for further development. This is something that is on the higher level of understanding. So if, for example, you work in a product company who runs some IT product, some platform, or for example, in Facebook, what does Facebook need to proceed with further development? Obviously, it requires creativity from their people. The creativity that would generate new ideas, that would push the boundaries of what's possible. So then, and that's about Facebook. Well, smaller companies have smaller goals, believe me. And when you understand that, that gives you a strategic advantage of knowing the goal. And then you can match your skills to this goal, and you can understand what you can do, what would be your contribution into this growth. What would be your best strategy for the work in this organization? By strategy, I mean that you might have a plan. Like, I'm working on this project. I'm doing my best in developing things. I take responsibility. I communicate to other people. I make their life better. Better to the extent of the working in the company. Like I make their work easier. And this is the strategy which is good enough to proceed from the junior level to senior level. Like you improve things, you care, you make sure that people around you like working with you. You do everything on time. You do not create problems. You raise the questions, you raise the problems, and you try to solve them. What will make you more efficient, like to move from senior level to team lead level to architect level or to the senior management level, is taking the responsibility. And this is something we will talk at this slide. Taking responsibility is the cornerstone of any work, anywhere. Because let's say, just for you to understand the concept, let's say you are the CEO of a company. You have built this company, like you started with 2 people. Let's say you organized the company which works with PHP and HTML and JavaScript code, and you create sites, whatever. You started from very small company of 3 people, and you grew to like 10 people or to 20 people. And this is the point when you cannot effectively manage those 20 people. And you cannot provide the growth to the company because your capabilities are limited. So you cannot manage all the project, you cannot manage the invoicing and other things, other operational things. So this is the point where you start to search people who can share your responsibilities with you. What should be those people? This is something who are similar to you, like who share your thoughts, who share your problems, who share your vision. And as a CEO, what you want to do is you want to simply take the portion, like a half or 90% of your current duties, and hand them off to this person. And what this person should do, he or she should take responsibility for this 90% of duties. And this is what I'm as SEO, or you as SEO, are ready to pay for. So you are ready to pay for unloading your work to another person who will be doing this with the same level of quality as you did. And the main question is, if you want to grow in your career path, is how to become this kind of person, how to become this sharer who will take over the 90% of this work and will fulfill them at the same level of quality. So in the big organization, there are a lot of people, and it is way more complicated to become somehow noticeable. What your strategy may be in the big company with thousands of employees and the big structure, big hierarchical structure, is your networking. So the more people you know, the more people you talk to, the more information you understand, And what is important, the more problems you see. And turning back to the previous slide, when you see somebody's problem and you see what your strong points are and your weak points are, you can match your strengths to these problems, and you can understand with a little creativity applied how you can help this person to solve their problems. You can start with solving smaller problems and grow to the bigger ones. So you always start with small things. You can pretty much easily show that you care on the smaller problems and raise the level any further with the growth of your position, like from junior to middle, from middle to senior, from senior to architect level. The kinds of problems grows. And by problems, I mean not something you have been told to do, not something you have been told by your manager to solve. I mean something that you see, that you detected, and that you have worked on and provided to your manager or the person who needed the solution as the evidence of your participation. Like, I have seen this, I have detected this problem. Here is my vision on how to solve it. So let's think together how we can work together on this one. And what it does, what this strategy does, it pushes your upwards in the hierarchy, it pushes your visibility. And all these people around you, they start to see that you participate in some processes. You help other people to see the solution. So communication is simply a tool. What matters is your intention and ability to take responsibility for reaching the goal in the conditions of uncertainty. And this is the key point, the conditions of uncertainty. Because a lot of people, 99.9%, they want the certainty. They want the task to be described in details. They want everything to be clear. They want everything to be understandable. And what makes the great value is when you are given a task or you see the task. We need to get, I don't know, we need to make this to systems work together, and nobody knows how they are built inside. This is the conditions of uncertainty. And if you can give, if you can take responsibility on connecting these two systems as a programmer, as a specialist, and give timelines or give commitment that you will be doing some research and will give timeline in a week. This is the value in the conditions of uncertainty. So you take responsibility without knowing if you can fulfill the task. And what it tells to the other person, to the other guy, is that, wow, this guy, he did not request any explicit explanation of how things should be done. He provides his vision and his solution to this problem. This, what it does, it saves my time, or it saves money, or it saves something else. But it definitely makes my life as the manager easier, and my work, it makes it easier and allows me to concentrate on our other tasks. more strategically important. And these people, this kind of people, they are always of a great value. And it's 1 in 1,000 who can do this. So you define your community, you define problems through communication. Like when you communicate with people, you see what they deal with, what they have problems with, and you understand how you can be instrumental in helping them in solving these problems. And you can also connect people, like you know somebody from this team, you know somebody from the other team, these 2 roles, these 2 persons, they know something that you do not know, or they know something they can help each other with. So you connect them, and that's another value. You solve somebody's problem. So taking responsibility in uncertain conditions and resolving the problem is, well, I can say is the major factor, in anybody's career. So what you want to know about the people around you in order to be instrumental for them. So you need to understand pains, problems, and goals of your superiors or your organization. And it means that you understand the business needs. If we're talking about managers, they are mostly not fond of technical problems, or business, they are not fond of technical problems. At the top level, businesses care about money. If you help them either save money or cut off some expenses, like make their expenses lower, or you provide new tools for making more money, this is of a great value. Understand of how valuable and specific goal is. So this is something you can tell of, like the value of implementing this solution is greater because it will bring more money, or it will cut off more expenses from the company. So you need to understand that making some big system which resolves small problem is less valuable than implementing small system, a small solution which resolves a great problem, which implies a lot of let's say expenses. So this thing is more valuable. You need to understand the value of the solution for the company, for the business. You should understand how you can help in reaching that goal. So it brings us back to understanding your strengths and what strengths you need to gain in the process of your career path, of developing your career. So when I'm talking about taking responsibility and communication, it may look like I'm talking about the higher positions, like senior or architect or manager position, or SEO or something like that. At some level, it is like that. So you solve big problems when you become of a big role, but you can show you can take responsibility, and you can show that you care at a very low roles as well, like being a developer, like junior or middle developer. You can say something like, please give me the test cases with boundary conditions which can fail my code from the QA, instead of simply saying, please check my code. So this is check my code, please check my code. This would be the general process. Like, you did your job, now let QA does his job. And showing care in this case, showing or taking responsibility is thinking how you can improve your code so that you can have the lesser number of iterations of QA checks. You can say, please give me performance metrics, market regulations, and compliance conditions for our product, instead of, is this code okay? So this is something you can ask from your team lead. And it will show that you actually want to make the additional conditions in your code that would prevent the failure in the future. And what you do in these two cases, and we have the third one, in the third case, you can say, let's merge to your colleague. You can say, let's merge our two branches in a sandbox and check if there are conflicts in our implementation before sending this code to QA. Instead of simply saying, I followed the description from the ticket, the rest is on QA. So what we do here, we want to make sure that our code merged together, code snippets which are merged together, they do not produce any conflict. And this will add additional level of, it will ensure that the product we are developing is more stable. And what's more important, it will cut off the time of QA iterations. So we will deliver the code, the functionality faster. So what we did in these three cases is we provided the solution for the problem which will not happen in the future. Like, in this case, we did so. In this case, we did so. In this case, we did so. We prevented the happening of the problem. We prevented the production server, like the live server where the application is available for users, for end users, from failures. And this saved the customer money and time of the application downtime. And this is what brings value, because as a CEO of the company, my main responsibility is to delivering the best quality product. This is something all IT companies talk about, but not all IT companies know how to develop it. And the top-notch IT solution is something that has, let's say, 2 strings of code surrounded by 100 strings of code, like 2 strings of code of functionality surrounded by 100 strings of code, which provide the additional safety to this functionality, the additional conditions for stability for this functionality. So for instance, if you have performance metrics, you need to provide, this implies additional code. If you have regulations and compliance conditions which the code needs to meet, this is additional code. And so on. So this is something which, this is 20% of efforts which provide 80% of outcome, of the quality outcome. What skills you need to develop your communication? So when we talk about communication with other people, the main thing, if you want to be able to detect problems and to feel people, is active listening. So this is the skill which extends your conscious to another person and allows you to understand the real feeling about this person has about the situation he is talking about. So active listening means that you actively listen to somebody without asking questions, without waiting for your turn to speak. This is what active listening is. Tactical empathy. It is similar to active listening, but tactical empathy is understanding of feelings, understanding of mindsets, understanding why this problem bothers this specific person. Because the same problem can be taken differently by two different people. One person can care about money, another person can care about the quality of a product, and the same problem may be taken differently from two of these perspectives. So technical empathy is understanding of these emotions. Sting removal is very effective, let's say, very effective method of talking when you need to protect from offense. Like, for instance, you did something wrong and you want to make sure that this something is not being used against of you. And what you can do in this situation, you can say that, okay, I see what you want to say, I feel you, what I did was wrong, and this should never have happened, and I accept this, I agree, and so on and so forth. In this case, the opponent, who before that wanted to tell all of this into your face and make you feel guilty, he or she simply loses the arguments, and the conversation becomes more constructive. So this is very good trick to actually move from offense to the constructive dialogue. And labeling is something that you want to mark others' emotions with. So when you are being said by another person, well, I see that, or no, not like that. The person tells you, I feel so distracted, or so, I don't know, so confused by this customer. They want, I don't know what they want. They do not know what they want. And I need to come up with some solution, and I do not know what this solution is. And you reply something like, well, apparently this is the dead end. So let's think how we can solve it. So in this case, you label the emotion. So this is a dead end. No one knows what to do. So, and you suggest your help in this situation. And this is another trick which you can do to make people communicate with you in more constructive way, rather than diving deep into their emotions. All right, then, the types of communication you'll meet. So in most IT companies, what they like is informal communication. But depending on the level of person who you talk to, the communication might be more formal. Like if you talk with people in your team, that will definitely be informal. But if it's somebody of a senior level, especially VP or like vice president level or director level, the communication might be more formal because the gap between the roles is very big and experiences. Lots of slang, in that might be the case in well, it's pretty much in all teams. The slang words in IT is normal thing, and what you should do, you should actually listen to more of that. If you do not know what it is, you simply ask. Just do not pretend you understand everything. It's a wrong strategy. It will not work for you. So slang is something you will definitely come up with. So you will understand it with time, but when you only start hearing it, just make sure to ask what it means if you don't understand it. How people will communicate with you. So it depends on the level of organization. In GlobalLogic, we always we have processes. So having processes, it makes things way easier. So you can, rather than explaining something in which is time consuming, you can simply give instructions where everything is described in a pretty good way. So depending on seniority level, so as I said, more senior people, they tend to give shorter, have shorter conversations with exactly the topic they want to communicate to you. And this conversation will be more or less formal. So nevertheless, the directions they give you are clear enough to proceed with them. And yeah, it depends on position and role. So different role, different communication. An important thing, escalations. When you only start your career on, or when you have been working in this position for some time already, and you feel that something is wrong, the first thing you need to do is the escalation. So silence means there is no problem. If you're silent about the problem, it will never get resolved. And probably if you expect that somebody else sees this problem, that might be not the fact, because as we said before, the same problem can be taken differently by two different persons. So when you see the problem, you make sure to escalate it to your PM. And if it doesn't work with the PM, you go further and escalate it to your HR partner. And in this way, most probably it will get resolved, or you will have a conversation with your PM on how you can resolve it together, or work on any other solution. So you should not be shy. You should not be, you should not think that somebody else will solve it, because leaving things as is in case of a problem means that you will can potentially jeopardize the project, and you can jeopardize your position in this company. So next thing we will talk about is the mentors and trainees. And there are a lot of situations when trainees actually they do not know how to behave themselves, and in certain situations, and leads, like senior people who mentor them, they do not know why this happened. So The first situation is being a newbie, you don't know what people would expect from you and how to behave in different situations. Or being a senior, you may be exposed to a bias of self-made person and expect the same level of self-conscious maturity from other people. What it means is, on one hand, as a newbie, you do not know what people would expect from you, and your mentor may think that this guy should be experienced enough to understand what I want, or should this is obvious thing even for the trainee level. This might not be the fact, and to avoid this, you should always communicate your thoughts and expectations and some feelings you have as explicitly as possible. So being a newbie might be unclear for you. What would be a proper action or decision expected from you by more senior people? And being a senior, you may consider business-related habits and approaches which you have automated through years of your career as the features everybody has by default. So this is pretty much similar situation to the previous one, but the main outcome here is that any task, any thing you want the other guy to fulfill should be broken down into very clear and detailed steps. Do not expect people to understand how to do things on their own, especially being a trainee. So the details is everything in this case. Being a newbie, you may encounter an overwhelming amount of technical jargon and acronyms. Or being a senior, you may take understanding of certain technical notions as granted and not bother explaining them. So, as we said before, explaining things as simple as possible to the new people is crucial, especially if it's jargonism or acronyms, etc. Because one acronym can bring a huge amount of notion in it. Like you would need to read through several articles to understand what the thing is. And your role as mentor is to make this few articles to be understandable in a couple of words. Like you need to be able to describe things clearly and simply enough for trainees to understand them. Being a newbie, you may struggle with understanding the broader context of project, leading to difficulty in conveying your ideas and understanding the implication of your work. And being a senior, you may be inclined of giving less experienced colleagues a very general and superficial information about the project. So this is very common situation when, for example, you as a PM of the project, you know what business wants from this project, what the final goal is, and how things should be done to reach this goal. And you expect the team to have the same understanding of this process. And if we're talking about the mentors and newbies, trainees, for trainees, well as for other team members, we as senior guys need to explain things in more details. Like we need to explain why this project is important, what we as a team need to commit to. Every details about the project is important. Like, do not think that something is only for PM and something can be told to the team, and that they should simply follow the tickets in Jira, etc. So explain as many things as possible about the project. Being a newbie, you may struggle adjusting yourself to team dynamics and effectively collaborate with colleagues. Being a senior, you may be tempted to throw your trainees right into the ocean of communication channels, thinking it will only be for their good. This is a very common thing. Mentors simply leave their trainees one-on-one with the team, and they expect trainees to dive into the communication right away. And this is not happening. Why it's not happening? Because on one point, trainees, they do not feel this confidence in their skills. They think they will be shamed. They will say something wrong, and it will make them look stupid at some degree. And for trainees, you guys need to understand that the only thing you need is self-confidence. Like, there are no right or wrong things you should talk about in chats or with other team members. If somebody takes you in a wrong way, it's mostly their problem. Like, it mostly shows the level of their competence. People who understand things, they would never behave them in wrong way with you. And there are no stupid questions, obviously. And trainees, they should not forget that success of team comprises of success of team members. So if all team members feel being successful, it means that the project is successful. And being successful means, as part of being successful, is feeling heard and feel being a part of the team. And feedback. So both newbies and senior people, they tend to think that giving feedback about something makes little sense because, especially in big companies, nothing will change. And this is not like that, because the problem you think is big and company-wide may not be so in your particular project and can be solved by your manager. So sharing your feedback with either manager or your mentor is a very important thing, because otherwise nothing will change at all if you do not share your feedback or your thoughts. But if you share it, there is a high probability that either something changes or you will be explained how to deal with this problem. So these are just few situations which you need to be aware of and which you need to adjust your attitude to. So to understand how to behave. Communications and hard and soft skills. So what is important in being successful in your communication and in the company at all is understanding what you talk about, like what you talk about with customers, what you talk about with other people in the project, with managers, etc. So you need to be an expert in fundamental knowledge. Do not strive to learn a lot of frameworks, a lot of technical things without having the fundamental knowledge of, let's say, algorithms or mathematical logic or whatever is there in your proficiency. So being an expert in fundamental knowledge is crucial because you understand the basics of the things and all the and you extend this understanding horizontally by studying more frameworks, more languages, etc. Have knowledge in areas adjacent to your main expertise. So for instance, you are a DevOps or you are a .NET developer or PHP developer, whatever. And extending the knowledge means you study something about AI tools, about machine learning tools, about generative AI, how it can be used together with your stack of technologies or some server adjustments. Having pet projects is very useful in studying new things because you can practice with new things. You do not expect somebody to come and give you new modern technologies. You simply develop themselves, come up with your ideas and develop your skills on your own. Discover how complex systems are built to imagine the roadmap of how to replicate them. This is also very good good skill to have. So you study complex systems implementations, like maybe lots of you have seen the diagrams of how some SaaS portals work. What is there on the very basic level? What's the intermediate level? What are the client-facing levels, etc. So that you can understand how complex things are built, and you can extend this knowledge to what you're dealing with. And in new situations, when you need to discuss something like that, something complex with the customers and managers, you already know where to what to talk about. Explaining complex things in simple words is very important because in this way you can, by picking the good analogy to the complex thing, you can explain it to the customers in more details. Study business domains you work in. So also important, because when you work, for example, in a medical domain, like you write the soft for some customers who deal with medical business. What makes your skills more valuable is understanding what are the medical problems your customers dealing with, what the pains they try to solve for their clients, etc. Match technological capabilities to business needs and profits. So that's something we have already discussed. Either you tell or you come up with a solution which can make more money or which can save money for your customer, would be very appreciated. And travel more and see more things, more interesting places. In this kind of situation, you can match the knowledge which you already have with something new. And in lots of cases, the solution for some problem or new vision of some solution can come to your mind instantly. So to sum up what we have discussed today, what you need to deal with, you need to understand your value and responsibilities. You should not work in companies where you don't feel comfortable. Don't be shy to ask questions or escalate problems. Understand what you want and what you're ready to do for this. Strive to become an expert in fundamental things. Take responsibility in uncertain conditions and help people to reach their goals so they can help you to reach yours. That's it, guys.